In behalf of the Card MRI Philippines, our staff, and our members, we would like to send our condolences to the family of Viji for her untimely death, and to celebrate with the life of Viji with the Women's World Banking. We know that Viji lived a life with very strong passion and dedication to help the many poor people in India and in many other parts of the world. We will miss you, Viji. Go in peace. God bless your family, and may the work that you started continue to flourish for the benefit of the many poor people for whom you dedicate your life to. God bless you, Viji. We will miss you.
I'm very sad because of the news, because of Viji's departure. I am with you, friends, family, with my deepest condolences. Whenever I thought of India, I thought of Viji and the great friendship and guidance and leadership she provided to all of us, for our commitment, and we will deeply miss her. Thank you, Viji, for all the work that you have done and all the inspiration you provided.
It's really just so hard to imagine working at Women's World Banking when there isn't a Viji Das to turn to. She's been such a huge part of my life in this organization. From the very earliest days, I remember on my first trip to India after joining Women's World Banking, Viji took me out to see a microfinance institution that Ananya had lent to, and I guess it was Friends of Women's World Banking India at that point, a microfinance institution that FWWB India had lent to. And it was about maybe 45 minutes drive out of Ahmedabad. And the people from the MFI were so excited to see her, and I got to sort of stand in her glow. And all of the women in the village that we went to visit had borrowed from this MFI in order to buy buffaloes, because they were selling the buffalo milk to the local milk co-op. And Viji was just endlessly interested in the women's lives and how the buffaloes were doing and how the prices for the milk were that day. And she just was so eager to hear everything about them, and the women were so excited to be talking about their business and their lives, and she was like a rock star in this village, and I got to tag along with her. But she taught me so much that day and on really countless other opportunities that I had to be with her, about how to be a leader, how to be a humble leader, how to be warm and a good listener to all around her. Even though she may have known more than anybody else in that room, she was always open to learning herself, and what mattered absolutely most to her was the lives of those women and making their lives better. There's been so much online and in the Indian newspapers on the impact that Viji's life and work had on the Indian microfinance sector, but all of us at Women's World Banking understand just how broadly around the world everything that she learned about microfinance, about lending to institutions that served low-income women, about the lives of low-income women, really was able to be shared absolutely around the world. We all learned so much from her, but that her vision had that opportunity to be shared so much more broadly than just in India was so important. I will miss her tremendously as a friend and a mentor.
So Viji was the second network member I ever met when I started here at Women's World Banking. And I remember just being in awe of her. And I remember being in awe of everybody else being in awe of her. She had just come back from a conference some industry level conference on some issue that the microfinance sector in India was grappling with. I don't even remember what it was, but I remember Vikramakula, the legendary founder of SKS, he said, well, I'm not going to do anything unless Viji Das says it's okay to do it. And I thought that was wise counsel indeed. And that's who Viji was. She was the moral conscience of the entire industry. Despite that, she was also really down to earth. And she really was personable. She wanted to get to know you. She loved to laugh. I remember her telling me that story about her grandmother jumping into the Ganges River and swimming across it in order to get out of an arranged marriage. And my eyes must have been as big as saucers as she's telling me this. But so were hers. And she must have told this story a million times. But here we are, all in awe of Viji. And here's Viji in awe of her grandmother. And we just started laughing. And that's Viji. I had the distinct honor, I think, to work with her on the transformation of her company, FWWB India, into Ananya. And it was an amazing feat. She transformed a Section 25 India company into a regulated financial institution, and it was amazing. But sadly, moments after that happened, India went into the Andhra Pradesh crisis, and it was really hard for Ananya. It got very hurt in that crisis, and it was in desperate need of investment capital, and we were in a position to provide that. But rightly so, my investment committee was asking some really tough questions about whether we should be making an investment in Ananya at this time. And I gave them all the commercial reasons why I didn't think this was a distressed asset, and why it was a good business bet, and they were still struggling. And at the end of the day, I said, the real reason that I'm confident about this transaction is, as a rule of thumb, I would never bet against Viji Das. I would never bet against Viji Das. And I convinced them, and we made the investment. And she pulled it off again. She found the right leadership team for Ananya. She found the next set of investors to take them forward. She helped pivot that company into the innovative flourishing institution it is today, that's branched out into social enterprise and agricultural lending. And it's an amazing legacy. And we were right to have invested at the time. And we were right not to bet against Viji Das. It's an unimaginable loss. But then I think we're going to be okay. We had Viji long enough that we know how to ask the question, what would Viji do? And as long as we keep asking ourselves that question, we're going to be okay.